lot sooner than intended, but I have been off and on sick for about 3 weeks now. I am not very pleased about that, but we're getting back on track and getting back into the swing of things here, so I am excited to read to you quite a lot of quotes from my favorite book, which is Dune, by Frank Herbert. This book means a lot to me. It came to my life at a time when I just got back into reading, and it reminded me so much of myself in so many weird ways, and so I'm excited to dig into this. When I first read this, I highlighted a ton of different quotes already in the book, so just going through this, I already have all the stuff that I like highlighted for me. So to start things off, this one I found very interesting. A popular man arouses the jealousy of the powerful, Haywat had said. I believe his name is pronounced Haywat. I don't remember if his name, how it's pronounced in the movies, but I've always read it like that. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. When I first read that made me realize this might be my favorite book ever written. I still think to this day that is genius, and it blew my mind when I first read it. Paul felt that he had been infected with terrible purpose. One of my favorite quotes in this book is the frequently mentioned terrible purpose, which is about the dread of Paul's potential and what he feels like his life is going towards, and how it seems grandiose. It's not something that he exactly wants, and he talks about it multiple times throughout this. By the way, Paul's the main character. Paul Atreides, I assume you know that, but in case you don't, he is him and his mother Jessica are the two main characters of this book. The old woman had waved Jessica to silence, looked down at Paul. Grave this on your memory, lad. A world is supported by 4 things. She held up 4 big-knuckled fingers. The learning of the wise, the justice of the great, the prayers of the righteous, and the valor of the brave. But all of these are nothing. She closed her fingers into a fist. Without a ruler who knows the art of ruling, make that the science of your tradition. Paul shrugged. Then she said a good ruler has to learn his world's language, that it's different for every world, and I thought she meant they didn't speak Gallic on Arrakis, but she said that wasn't it at all. She said she meant the language of the rocks and growing things, the language you don't hear just with your ears, and I said that's what Dr. Yue calls the mystery of life. Haywat chuckled. How'd that sit with her? I think she got mad. She said the mystery of life isn't a problem to solve, but a reality to experience. So I quoted the first law of Mentat at her. A process cannot be understood by stopping it. Understanding must move with the flow of the process, must join it and flow with it. That seemed to satisfy her. Well, that certainly satisfies me, because I think that's awesome. And again, the writing of this book, I think, is just incredible. I'm always impressed with it whenever I go back to it. Here's an odd one in the Madib family commentaries. There's each chapter typically at the beginning has an excerpt from a fictional book within This one is written by Princess Irulin, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I could be so wrong on that. What is the Son but an extension of the Father? I think that's a cool one. The Duke thought the truth could be worse than he imagines, but even dangerous facts are valuable if you've been trained to deal with them. And there's one place where nothing has been spared for my son, dealing with dangerous facts. This must be Leavened, though he is young. This one makes me chuckle a little bit. You must teach me someday how you do that, he said. The way you thrust your worries aside and turn to practical matters. It must be a Bene Gesserit thing. It's a female thing, she said. Another paragraph from the Humanity of Mahdib by the Princess Irulin. Many have remarked the speed with which Mahdib learned the necessities of Arrakis. The Bene Gesserit, of course, know the basis of this speed. For the others, we can say that Mahdib learned rapidly because his first training was in how to learn. And the first lesson of all was the basic trust that he could learn. It is shocking to find how many people do not believe they can learn, and how many more believe learning to be difficult. Mahdib knew that every experience carries its lesson. You learn a lot about yourself while reading this book, which is one of my favorite parts. Just reading this now, I am reminded that a lot of lessons that I've learned in life have probably been reinforced or just flat out learned by reading this book, so I think that's pretty cool. I think this is a great one. Anything outside yourself, this you can see and apply your logic to it, she said. But it's a human trait that when we encounter personal problems, those things most deeply personal are the most difficult to bring out for our logic to scan. We tend to flounder around, blaming everything but the actual deep-seated thing that's really chewing away at us. Do you wrestle with dreams? Do you contend with shadows? Do you move in a kind of sleep? Time has slipped away. Your life is stolen. You tarried with trifles, victim of your folly. Mahdib could indeed see the future, but you must understand the limits of this power. Think of sight. You have eyes, yet you cannot see without light. If you are on the floor of a valley, you cannot see beyond your valley. Just so, Mahdib could not always choose to look across the mysterious terrain. He tells us that a single obscure decision of prophecy, perhaps the choice of one word over another, could change the entire aspect of the future. He tells us the vision of time is broad, but when you pass through it, time becomes a narrow door. And always, he fought the temptation to choose a clear, safe course, warning, that path leads ever down into stagnation. I think this book is great. I adore it. And I always appreciated that by the time the movie came out, they got a guy to play Paul, which is Timothée Chalamet, of course, who has very similar hair to me. I'm often described as a clone of that man, which certain features, yeah, others not so much, but you get what I mean, I think. Also, such an odd thing about this book is that you will have very normal names, you'll have very sci-fi names, and then you'll have just bizarre names. For example, Paul and Jessica are very normal, and then they have their friend known as Duncan Idaho. I don't know how he came up with that one, but here we are. Okay, this is when stuff gets weird, and I really like it. I'm gonna try and say this word. The Fremen were supreme in that quality the ancients called Spannungsbogen, which is the self-imposed delay between desire for a thing and the act of reaching out to grasp that thing. I think that's gonna do for right now. If you'd like me to read more of this, or if I just feel like doing it, I certainly can and probably will. But thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope that